get stuff like music stuck in your head for long periods of time?
Yeah, and it's random. I don't know why one would do it and why another wouldn't.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
know,
make
man. It's so frustrating because all I can do is hear this song in my head, and just
which one
and no
is
matter
it?
how I keep listening to it, it's stuck there.
Well, usually the remedy is to listen to another song over and over, or something
What?
else to take its place. But what? It's not
Yeah.
working.
Well, and I've tried. I've
Oh,
listened to
okay.
many other songs, but this one, for some reason, right
Yeah,
now, is stuck in my head.
I know what you're saying. That happens to me too. It does. I don't know why. It must be something that resonates with us at the moment. Um, it's like a theme that works out too.
Hmm.
I mean, I know what you're saying. Definitely, it's happened to me before.
Also, I don't like the term earworm. That was
Yeah, me
yeah.
neither.
How weird is that?
Yeah, I'll never. Yeah, that's why I don't call them that. It's disturbing.
Ugh.
Very disturbing. Reminds me of Lego Movie 2,
Uh-huh.
when there was that scene when they met the Queen. Queen, what's her name? Anyway, I forget her name now. But she does this insane just show, and she's basically talking about an earworm and how she could do it and how she wants to brainwash you. Like, it was a really powerful scene, but seeing it in the theater, I was like, no, this is really freaky, even though it was a kid's show.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the
come
Lego
on.
movies are great,
They
surprisingly.
are. They're so well written, so well produced. They're funny, great acting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah, absolutely. But enough of that. Let's get into the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is
That's
I
right.
Want to Believe Adam,
Hey, everybody.
and I Am the Adventures of Topher.
The Adventures
And
of Topher. Is this episode 1?
yeah, sure, sure. I go on an adventure every single day, man, and I do it especially hard on when we record.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it is all an adventure. Even just venturing outside and doing something different is an adventure. So,
Hmm.
um, doing something like this is an adventure too.
Yeah.
This man. All right. So, I wanted to start out with something positive first, before getting into the reports, right? With which threw a wrench, and they always do these things on Friday.
Of course.
But this one was released just a couple days before. So the Air Force releases details about 2023 UAP sighting, first brought to light by Congressman Matt Gaetz. Do you remember this one? He always brings it up.
Yeah.
Him and Luna or something. And that they actually went to the base. They met with the general there on the base. They tried to get the evidence from them, and they were denied evidence. Like, wait a minute, we're Congress people. Anyway, that whole story. So someone filed for FOIA and got documents from them, including what was seen, which is right here.
Oh boy. It looks like
Yeah.
a Millennium Falcon.
I mean, yeah. What was that one? The Kecksburg UFO. It looks like that too.
Yeah. Hmm.
There is a video. They said a responsive video related to the incidents was withheld in full under exemption, of course, which protects information deemed critical to national defense or
Sure.
foreign policy. Yeah, of course, you know that.
Hmm.
But this thing, if you remember, it jammed his craft. He couldn't take anything with radar, so he has to take an image or a video with his phone because they didn't let him do that. So if this was a test, it was a test of also doing that to this pilot.
Oh wow.
I know. Um, so yeah, of course we have Kirkpatrick before the releasing of the report. He had this one in Scientific American. I guess prepping us, right? He was prepping us for 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what incredible timing.
Yeah, and he gets these publications like Scientific American. We need to investigate UFOs, but without the distraction of conspiracy theories. Now, who's going to argue against that? You know,
Yeah. Well, it's like I said to you, I kind of get it. But
yeah,
it just has to do, it's just you don't want to throw all these terms in there because as soon as you say, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, oh, he's a truther, um, you just write it off. You just don't care about it immediately.
yeah, it's complete mind control when someone says
Hmm.
conspiracy theories. But now it says about extraterrestrials. So this is another one we're going to see. another word that's been used within the report. All of Kirkpatrick's articles and the interviews, and it's all about ETs, extraterrestrials. So there must be something there, because these people play games, and so they can protect themselves if the truth does come out. Like, well, I didn't say it was non-human intelligence. I didn't say, we said it wasn't ET. So it looks like there's something there, and we've talked about that many times about
Yeah.
ETs and extraterrestrials, and even Grush brought it up. Luna recently brought it up. So, what else in here he has?
Many many
Yeah,
outside
no.
observers nonetheless have criticized AARO as supposedly part of a continuing government cover-up of the existence of aliens.
Yeah, see the whole aliens thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have not provided verifiable evidence of this. So so it must be they're just playing games on this
Yeah.
whole aliens extraterrestrial thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting.
While those who came forward have provided valuable information, albeit not of extraterrestrials or cover-ups. All right, those who have chose to instead titillate the national interest only stir division and hatred against the credible men and women of AARO. Oh my God, man. Humans are so self-involved. It's just insane.
They really are.
It doesn't matter where they are. Everything becomes personal. If people
Yeah.
claim to have evidence involving aliens, they need to come forward to AARO to enable the office to investigate it. Anyway, the point of sharing that was just because this came out on, I think it was Friday, which is
The best and worst day to release these news. This news.
yeah, the Department of Defense All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and it is the report on the historical record of U.S. government involvement with unidentified anomalous phenomenon, Volume 1.
Why did they? What was the reasoning behind going from UFO to UAP? Do you remember?
It was just a classic. Well, the excuse was that
It was the
UFO came.
same thing with like conspiracy theorist, like that term, right?
Yeah, they were worried that UFO carried a lot of baggage with it, so they wanted to like change the branding, like a marketing thing,
Hmm.
where there'll be new interest in it without that whole giggle factor of UFO. That was
Sure.
the excuse. But I mean, researchers like Richard Dolan said no, they did that so they can rewrite history. So because it was all UFOs back throughout the 1930s, and I don't know for how long within the U.S. government. So if you want a FOIA UAP, you won't get much. UFO will go back a long way. So that's what he was saying, that they were also covering up historical things that happened with UFOs.
Very interesting.
But here they say since 1945, the USG has funded and supported UAP investigations with the goal of determining whether UAP represented a flight safety risk, technological leaps by competitor nations, or evidence of off-world technology under intelligent control. So this is a very long document, and we can go through and see what we find.
Mhm.
But you'll see that a lot of it is just extraterrestrials, off-world technology, and that might be a hint. So here's section 2, executive summary, and this is what's been shared across the media.
AARO found no evidence that says USG investigations, academic sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed that any sighting of UAP represented extraterrestrial technology. Wow, that's pretty wild.
Just like that, all investigative efforts at all levels of classification concluded that most sightings were ordinary objects and phenomenon and the result of misidentification. See, there's something to do with, I mean, the U.S. government knows mind control, right? And they know us inside and out. They've studied humanity, our psychology,
Yeah.
our physique for decades. So even me, and I get caught in this too, I read the way things are written from the US government, and it's done in a way, I think, where it's mind control. I'm
Yeah.
convinced that what they're saying now is true. despite everything I've ever read throughout decades and seen through my eyes, with my eyes.
Well, I
Reading
mean,
this though, I'm like, oh, okay, I believe you.
yeah, I mean, look at we just had the presidential address the other night.
Yeah,
All the lies that he said, and
all of them
you look
lies.
at any news article anywhere, where they've got this big angry title, and just people seem to believe it, even though it's completely wrong or it's a lie or there's an agenda there.
Because it's coming from an authority figure, right?
Right.
Biden, yeah, isn't the president of the United States, surrounded by his party, giving him standing ovations every few seconds,
Yeah.
you know. And but every sentence he said was a provable lie,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
pretty
It's
much like
ridiculous.
90%. Yeah, yeah. What do you want to say?
No, that was it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, so although many UAP reports remain unsolved or unidentified, AARO assesses that if more and better quality data were available, here's the data thing, most of these cases
Mhm.
also could be identified and resolved as ordinary objects or phenomenon. You know,
Wow.
as you can see, and it continues. The whole
Just
report is this.
yeah, man.
No empirical evidence for claims that the USG and private companies have been reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. AARO determined, based on all information provided to date, that claims involving specific people, known locations, technological tests, and documents allegedly involved in or related to the reverse engineering of extraterrestrial technology are inaccurate. Additional claims will be addressed in Volume 2. So they're telling us that even Volume 2 is going to be a debunk.
It's just unbelievably frustrating to see this.
Well, the thing is, it's 100% deny, like 100% anything, like
Yeah.
and here they go even through these, like even UAP non-disclosure agreements, which even like the Nimitz, remember the Nimitz,
Mhm, mhm.
2004, right? And the entire ship saw this happening of people coming in helicopters, getting down, making them sign NDAs, taking taking the footage
Right.
and leaving.
Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. So, Arrow has found no evidence of any authentic UAP related NDA or other evidence threatening death or violence for disclosing UAP information.
Jesus. I
But
mean,
yeah,
what is so scary or crazy about UFOs and aliens that the government needs to suppress? I mean, what is it?
yeah,
What
because
what
here they're telling us it's them basically, or phenomena. It's either us, an adversary, or yeah, or natural phenomena. That's what they're saying here, right?
Right, but
So
like I mean, if we knew okay, if we found out all the UFOs that we're seeing
yeah,
are Russian technology or Chinese or
yeah.
whatever. I mean, why is that so, like, why is that so scary that we don't want the general public to find out about it?
I mean, yeah, and just remembering other things in there. They're worried about their own classified projects being known by our adversaries, is what they're saying.
That's
But
that's almost scarier. What does the US have flying around, that they don't want other people to know about?
I mean, yeah, wouldn't we have ended all wars if we really had that? Like, I mean, I believe we do in some capacity, but not in like a mass capacity.
Mhm.
But like, what is the point of everything going on then with
Oh,
these nations,
right.
like competing nations? Like, why don't they just go ahead and just take over?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, all right, here we are. We're ahead by 200 years. But maybe it is like that. And this is just all a facade, the nations. That's that too.
A lot of people dying, for stupid reasons then if it's a facade.
For no reasons. Yeah. And paying for electricity and,
Yeah.
all that for no reason at all. We can all have a device at home. So who would be this? A CIA official allegedly managed UAP experimentation. The named former CIA official, the name, where's his name? Was not involved in the move in the movement of extraterrestrial technology. The same former CIA officer signed a memo rejecting a claim made by interviewees that he managed the movement of an experimentation on off-world technology. So I don't know who this might be. but denied. Oops.
Actually, no, this is better. If you want to keep it like this, because then I can read it a little bit more easy.
Oh, was it not here? Is that better?
Oh yeah, much
Nice.
better.
This guy, an alleged 1961 special national intelligence estimate that was leaked to online sources and suggests that the extraterrestrial nature of UFOs is inauthentic.
Oh man.
Aliens present during a DoD technology test. AARO reviewed information related to an account of an interviewee overhearing a conversation about a technology test at a military base where aliens allegedly were observing. And AARO judges that the interviewee misunderstood the conversation.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's the proof, though. AARO judges. Thanks, guys. What's this one?
This is what this whole thing is just an opinion article, essentially.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can get into what people have been saying. Some good points in that.
Let's do that.
All right. Well, first of all, I want Think Tank. He released when the DoD came out with the report. These are the only people they invited from the media.
So people they handpicked, essentially.
Yep. ABC News, Washington Post, 2 of them, CNN, NY Times, and then he goes, list of journalists invited by the Pentagon for the AARO meeting. Ask yourself how they all have come up with the exact same headline today.
Yeah, because our government owns every single news corp that ever existed.
Right. And and we know as there is a huge problem with legacy media. It's dying. They're letting go everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The new media is alternative media. And is there one person from alternative media here? No.
Of course not.
I mean, not even like News Nation. Okay, fine. What's that guy's name? Green Street, the guy, the paid, obviously paid agent. He's from the NY Post. How come we didn't invite him? Weird.
Well, we know why.
Because he's not a journalist.
Yeah.
Well, here's John Majorowski. I don't know how to really pronounce it, but this is some great insights on the report.
After reading the DoD AARO report several times, this is my current conclusion. 1, the report seems to actively reframe, discredit, or provide alternative context for specific claims in a way that could be seen as continuing an alleged cover-up narrative. Accurate.
Sorry.
Oh wow, there's a lot here. I was really hoping.
Yeah, it's a good thread.
Yeah, I recommend everyone actually go and read this.
Wait, should I make it bigger? Wait a minute.
No, I mean I can read it.
Yeah, but it's not that long. But I mean,
okay.
Still, oh yeah, wait, it is kind of long. But still, these are all good points of the report.
Yeah,
that people need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it does feel like a cover up. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, everything that we cover is a cover up. It feels like.
Some claims arise from people mistakenly associating legitimate classified programs with alien activities due to incomplete or unauthorized access. Portrays claims about studying societal impacts of alien disclosure or conducting PR campaigns about it as mere proposals that were never authorized. So they're saying, the report is basically saying that all these campaigns, disinformation campaigns that were done, even the ones by Doty when he was, that known one too, that they were all proposals.
Oh, jeez.
They're all mere, but see, that's we see them getting away with that even with COVID. Like, those are just recommendations. We're not forcing you to do that. The CDC is recommending.
Such an infuriating argument. And who was the president that got elected that said he wanted us to have the most transparent government of all time?
Oh yeah, he's right here.
Obama.
Oh yeah, and of course he was supposed to bring hope. Yeah.
Total lie. Change. It's all. It just keeps being the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that was a psyop. The whole change thing and hope.
Yeah,
and it was the exact same thing. What's this one? Their premise appears focused on potential alien civilizations as a hypothetical non-human source of UAP. The consistent framing around off-world, extraterrestrial, and lack of any mention of dimensions or timelines suggests AARO is not entertaining these hypotheses. You'd wonder why, huh?
Well, interesting broad dimensions and timelines.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really dismiss that with understanding of physics. I mean, and this also. So AARO apparently subpoenaed no documents or physical evidence. They put no witnesses under oath. They relied on the word of the defense contractors on the record. They produced none of the unexplained evidence. They implicitly threatened whistleblowers, an obvious farce, compliant MSM.
Yeah, I mean, this hits the nail right
Yeah.
on the head.
Yeah. If you don't subpoena, I mean, are we saying that corporate executives don't lie? Is that what we're saying? So you're the head of Lockheed, and an arrow comes and goes, "Hey, nice meeting you. Oh, cool. Okay, coffee, all that stuff, right? You sit down. All right, we're doing an investigation, and we just, we need to know, are you guys reverse engineering, alien technology?" And they all laugh. Now, of course we're not. Come on, Sean.
And in the meantime, from the CEO's office, in the window behind him are like weird UFOs just hanging,
Just floating.
floating in the air.
Yeah, exactly. And they just took, and they say, "Okay, thank you," and then they filed it. That's exactly what they did. They on record. That's on record.
Unreal. We pay
I
these
know.
people's salaries. What
All in on it.
what is going on?
He'll probably have like, I mean, he's working now for what are they called? Sean Kilpatrick, not Bell Labs. Fuck, I forget now. But anyway, it's a nice cushy job, and he's still doing this. Like, dude, didn't you leave? Didn't you retire? Um, so this guy Joey is not my name on X says, look at the terminology. This is intentional. So he's highlighting extraterrestrial and off-world. And so
is there a term for like when you're trying to disprove something that you messed up, you keep repeating the same like phrase or like whatever the thing that you did wrong, you keep repeating it over and over again just to say that you didn't do whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, it's not scapegoat. Projecting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of.
I mean, are
It
they
is.
talking to us in a different way? Is that what this is?
No, I literally think these are people who have had their cushy jobs for a long time, and when someone goes, "Hey, do you have extraterrestrial off-world technology?" and they go, "No, we don't have anything that's extraterrestrial. No, we don't have anything that's off-world,
Right, exactly.
off-world extraterrestrial stuff.
Yeah.
No, there's we don't have anything that's off-world. It doesn't,
Man, that's exactly what's going on here. It's just terminology. Just in case it happens, like it's right here. It's not off world and it's not extraterrestrial. They're terrestrial, just more advanced than us.
Well, what's so frustrating is whenever this comes to the truth actually ever comes out,
Yeah.
um, they're saying, well, no, this isn't off world. It's just on a different world.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they'll use anything at this
So we
point.
didn't lie by saying this was off world technology. We were just saying it was on a different world.
Man, yeah, and that's who we're dealing with. These are the type of people we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So Klaus on X also, he says that the third source cited in the AARO report is a fandom page.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, .fandom.com.
Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable how ridiculous this report is.
They just
Oh,
think we're
God.
idiots, man. They really do. Um, Danny Sheehan had his response.
Mr.
Obviously,
Great Hair.
yeah, Mr. Curly Gray Hair.
Yeah.
But what is Sheehan? That's Irish, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think so.
I just admire his hair a lot.
Especially at his age,
Hold on.
right?
So should we read this?
Yeah.
Okay, I am taking the extraordinary step of informing the public and the media that I personally know that Dr. Kirkpatrick and his associates at AARO are consciously lying when they
Mm-hmm.
falsely assert that they have been provided no substantial evidence of the existence of a secret U.S. government UFO crash retrieval program, because I personally provided to Dr. Kirkpatrick himself under oath
Under oath.
under
Yeah.
oath the fact that I was granted access to the still classified files of Project Blue Book related to the over 700 cases of UFO sightings that could not be rationalized as any natural phenomenon that had been simply mistakenly misidentified as a UFO. And that, in that capacity, I was shown by official representatives of our U.S. government several official photographs of active UFO crash retrieval operation.
There you go. I mean, and he's saying he went under oath, also under AARO, and they're just dismissing these people, like Danny Sheehan, who's been at this. Pentagon Papers. That's who Danny Sheehan is. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like this is
yeah,
he's not a joke. This guy.
right. Totally legitimate. It's just, man, I'm getting angry and angrier now. You know.
No, don't get angry. All right, well here's Luis Elizondo. Of course, they really went after him in the report.
Mhm.
He's one of the conspiracy theorists, right? That
Sure. Got to discredit
now
him. Just slap the label on there.
Oh yeah, all these guys who worked for the government, yeah, one of the things they said was that the program he worked for was not an official government program, even though it was Harry Reid, the Speaker of the House, who created it.
Just
Oh
I
man,
mean, my God, they'd kick you in the balls and say, "No, no, 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 no. We didn't kick you in the balls. We kicked you in the dick." Huge difference. Huge difference.
so Louis goes. It is inconceivable that the Pentagon continues to go down this road of obfuscation and denial. Our adversaries have already stated, for the record, they have their own UAP programs. Is this not important to the Pentagon? This report is not only inaccurate, but also misleading in many of its assertions. Furthermore, this is yet another example of a long list of missteps by the Pentagon in recent history. It's a sad day for democracy when the American public is being fed misinformation under the guise of truthfulness and transparency.
So it's a sad day every day for democracy.
And it pretty much is. I mean, why would they tell us the truth about this one? They haven't even told us about COVID yet. And
Yeah.
that's like it's out there, like in peer-reviewed papers. But we have nothing from the US government about it.
Ugh, just unreal how much the government gets away with. But as we were discussing yesterday at lunch, what do you do as a citizen? What do you
Yeah.
do?
But yeah, I mean,
You're just,
we
I
can't
mean,
look, we can't change Washington. That's way too far for any of us. That's up there as billionaires and trillionaires who are dealing with that, But
the the whole system has been created so people who have a brain, who are awake,
Mhm.
you can't do anything. You're just stuck in this environment.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about it. You can be somewhat of an activist, not too much of an activist. Yeah, you're right. I've seen many activists actually become depressed and delete even social media. Like I've seen that happen with many people, by the way.
Mhm.
So I think being an activist is not really probably not the right thing to do, but
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like the system has been
yeah.
designed, so you can't do anything.
Yeah,
You
and I'm thinking even if you're a billionaire, you can't do anything, because are we saying like 100% of like billionaires out there are okay with what's happening in this world?
right.
Like not one. There's Musk, but then Musk with this issue goes, there's no aliens. I would know, So he's saying that.
Yeah.
Bigelow, you have Bigelow, I guess, but now he's just doing consciousness research.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, that's a lot of what Lovecraft, a lot of his themes seem to be
yeah.
about affecting consciousness, as a whole. And if you can, well, I mean, a
Mm,
lot of his stories involve when you do evil things and evil things keep happening around
hmm
people,
hmm
that changes the overall consciousness towards evil.
So like
Which,
the opposite would happen, you mean?
what do you wait? What?
Oh,
What
you
do you?
mean so you're saying people will attract evil if they're being evil?
Well, no, I'm saying that if you do something evil enough, it affects the change
Ah, y-
overall, of the people around you and
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, that totally makes sense. And yeah,
Yeah.
and consciousness has a lot to do with this. And I think even even just having this conversation that the nation has had, even people saying it's a psyop or not, but just having the conversation about it helps make it more real. Like when we discovered the Americas, most of the native tribes didn't see the ships coming, right? Because it wasn't part of their
Right. They
consciousness.
couldn't understand what was going on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it might be just something similar to that.
Yeah.
So Ross
Possible.
goes on the record also. Ross Coulthard, he's on the record. No evidence of alien cover up. That is the title, by the way, of ABC, CBS, Fox, all of them.
Of course.
So let's see what Ross says. Obviously, he's not going to be happy. It's Ross.
More about this than, well, certainly than me, but anybody else. This report, the headline, as Joe says, basically no evidence of aliens or any kind of cover up of aliens. You say what?
Good evening, Connell. Well, firstly, I don't think anybody's surprised that the Pentagon is making a pronouncement like this. I'm talking to multiple people tonight, people inside the legacy retrieval program, reverse engineering program that is being secretly operated by people within the US government and private aerospace who hoot with laughter at this feeble attempt by the Pentagon to try and stop the issue being discussed any further. We know for a fact that the Inspector General of the intelligence community, that is the oversight body for the intelligence community, separately from the Pentagon, has made a determination that David Grush's complaints are credible and urgent. And that's why they were referred to the Congress for investigation.
Yeah, so how can you have one agency say that this stuff is real, right? And then you have another agency that just dismisses the entire thing. I guess, it's just it's part of our government. It's too big.
The right hand sorry, I was in the middle of a drink of water. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
And it's because it's so gigantic, right? And each one has their own
agendas.
And the ICIG doesn't have an agenda. I think AARO is, why would they investigate themselves? They're basically investigating themselves. It's the DOD.
But that's the whole joke behind it.
Yeah.
We investigated ourselves when we found we did nothing wrong. Yeah.
We keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Yeah. It's every single time. I mean, this is what conspiracy is all about. Watching our government do this kind of thing.
Do this. Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again.
And they're surprised.
9/11, COVID, aliens. It's just every single time these corrupt, I'm going to say it, these corrupt fucks,
yep.
They're just purely evil.
And in on it for themselves only. Yeah.
It's just so frustrating to watch as a citizen who I pay taxes, even though I don't want to. I pay my bills. I have to go to work every day. It's just so frustrating to watch these stupid fucks do what they do, and it's so disheartening.
That's why it has to end. It has to end. It's unsustainable.
I mean, but it's not. Clearly, it's not, because they keep doing it and they keep getting away with it.
Yeah,
and we're not allowed to do anything about it. Sorry, you're right. Don't get mad. I'm getting mad.
Well, yeah, and because it's frustrating, and I get it. I mean, it's just, it happens over and over and over. Like, they will never stop doing it this way. The same pattern of like, oh yes, let's give them hope. Oh, okay, now we're getting close. Oh, and it's the same thing over and over. And I knew when it was first happening, it's going to happen again, and here we are.
Yep.
But then me being, I guess, human, or it's that hope thing. That hope. They know what hope is so powerful. Without it, we die, actually. So we need it. So no one should ever get rid of hope. But it's weaponized against us.
Yeah, absolutely. They found out this way to, like, oh, it's gonna happen. Oh, it's gonna happen, and then
yeah, exactly. And it's it's mind control, because it's an abusive relationship.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Yeah, it's that type of mentality, and that's what many people are just say. Screw it, screw them. Who cares? Just let's do it on our own. But the thing is, humanity as a mass will not care unless an official human source says it. That's the problem.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the kind of thing we've talked about, where you have to, and this is one of my really big points of frustration. You get enough people talking about this who want to do something about it, and so you go, you protest, but then the government comes in and they put characters in there that put that end up sidelining the whole thing, or you go
Yeah.
out there and protest
Mhm.
and someone turns it into a riot, and so the government comes down and shuts down the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating to see.
Agent provocateurs. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, and they did the same thing with UFO groups like NICAP and those ones that came out a long time ago in the 40s, right? They infiltrated them and they ruined them. MUFON, infiltrate and ruin. I mean, over and
Yeah,
over.
what was the Wall Street one?
Oh yeah, Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that one was really interesting to me to see it devolve.
Yeah,
because they had all really, really good points.
Yeah.
And then it turned into race or gender. I mean,
There's a
that's
strong movement too,
yeah.
and they had the
And-
media there
Mhm.
almost every day, I think, covering it.
Mhm.
I remember that. Yeah. What happened? What did they just get infiltrated in something? I remember. It
I
was,
mean, I think so. I think they got infiltrated. I
yeah,
have no proof of that, but it was just
yeah,
it was talking about the 1% and like something that I genuinely get. Where like I don't like that rich people basically have their own world that they live in, and they don't have the same laws and rules that apply to them.
no,
But then it turned into, I mean, God, the media was interviewing people who were talking about how
yeah,
race and gender were a part of it when that had nothing to do with what was going on. And then it completely collapsed because that became the focal point.
yeah. You're right. When it first started, it was about the banking system. It was about the Fed. It was about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you're right, and it got derailed into this thing that nothing to do with what actually happened.
Right.
I mean, what was the bailout? 800 billion, nothing compared to these days.
God, I still remember like Obama bailed out some of the bigger companies, and like they found out the CEOs were going on trips to the Bahamas or Hawaii or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, how sick and evil do you have to be to do something like that?
Dude, COVID is worse, right? It's like they got slowly more evil, but like when you look at COVID, it's basically this whole history of UFO, UAP, and then the corruption of government when it came through the banks and those bailouts, right? Like Occupy Wall Street, and then just applied all that, which they got away with, into big pharma, and they made trillions, not hundreds of billions.
Just, you know what? They got away with it again.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Not just that. I think they're trying to pass laws to make you, if you speak out against it, it's illegal and bad for national security.
Oh, but we're not the thought police at all,
No. I mean, remember Ministry of Truth? They even tried that, the government.
Just sick. They're sick.
And so disconnected from the people. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they feel like the Fed is some magical money printing machine, but it's not gonna be there forever. When it's gone, they're gone. But
they'll be hiding in their bunkers that every billionaire seems to be building nowadays.
Oh yes. Hey, do you think that'd be a good business plan, like a
bunker building,
a community bunker?
So this is
everyone pitches in.
Well, what we're talking about, we were talking about the Fallout show yesterday. This is exactly what we're talking about.
All right, I gotta play that game.
So you have to.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to, and I have it queued up to the preview.
Oh, good.
All right, let's see what else Kuthar has to say here, and then we can move on.
And I was only just recently in Washington talking to senior staffers, senior congressional representatives, and senior senators. And by golly, they are not letting go of this just because the Pentagon makes a pronouncement that it's not true. They know it's true. They have first-hand witnesses who've testified about it, who didn't go to AARO, to the Defense Department, because frankly, Connell, they didn't trust them. And that's the problem. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the person who created this report, it's alleged by the people I've been talking to that he set out with a preconceived agenda. And I can reveal here tonight that I've found out some of the members of a special secret advisory committee that Dr. Kirkpatrick used to advise him in the preparation of that report. I have their names, I have their roles, I know who they are. They are the gatekeepers, believe it or not, to this legacy program.
Mhm.
They were quite literally pulling the strings on this AARO report.
Yes, obvious.
Get 'em.
There has to be
Get 'em.
someone like that, right?
Of course.
But,
Every
I mean,
single time.
don't these people die out, man? Don't they? Or do they just have like these apprentices and like, you know?
Yeah.
It's just,
I think that happens a lot more often than we'd like to think about.
it just perpetuates.
Yep, it just keeps going.
And like they feel like that's their role in government, and they're protecting something, and you know, the status quo, and it has to be like that. That type of thinking is just so medieval, isn't it? It just reminds me like kings and like, you know, in the 1200s, and
Mhm.
you know, we have our plebes. We need to keep this the way it is.
Ho-
Like it's a
hopefully,
kingdom.
hopefully they're less incest bred.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I wouldn't either.
All right, so let's see what else Ross
And
says.
people are so angry, so
Yeah.
bitterly angry with this feeble attempt at a cover-up that they are now leaking more assiduously to people like me, and more importantly, whistleblowers are becoming more compelled to come forward and give evidence about what they know. And if I can just make one further point.
Okay.
There is an executive order under your President Ronald Reagan, God bless him, back in the 1980s. This executive order 12333 banned covert actions by the US intelligence community against the American public, designed to influence American public opinion or media commentary. Now, the allegation...
They'll just use NGOs. That's what they did with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the US government just farmed it out to these NGOs, paid them, and those guys did it. It's the same thing. Oh my, I'm getting kind of all right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So
All
that's
right.
the report. That's the report. I mean, we might have a few more things here just to help out our listeners and viewers to know that, you know, this is definitely a cover up, that this has been going on for a very long time. This is one from wait. I thought this was from the 1800s, 1952. Oh, yes. Sorry. So Richard Geldreich on Twitter says, don't watch what they say, watch what they do. AARO is spending funds building detectors.
Again,
Yes. So, but then he found a newspaper article from the 1950s. To obtain tangible instead of theoretical data, the Air Force will try to photograph the saucer lights with special cameras and telescopes containing diffraction grids. It's from a newspaper article from 1952. You know?
oh hey, so this has been going on for a long time.
Yes, for a very long time. Oh,
Weird.
Yeah. Oh man. So I always like this guy's take, and we've played it before on the show. But you know, this is probably what we're dealing with right here.
I'll bet you there's such a thing as trillionaires.
Yeah,
And
that's
they're
another
slaves
thing.
too. And they're just true. Shit rolls downhill.
So of course there's
They act like
trillionaires.
slaves themselves, right? It's like a pyramid scheme. The money flows up. They got to pay their upline, and you're in their downline. And then at the bottom of the base, we have, of course, the homeless. Then we're going to bring in illegal immigrants above the renters. You can see every level of it. At the top, that's probably what all them UFO sightings are. Those are trillionaires, not time travelers. They're so rich they get to live in another goddamn dimension. I'll bet you there's such a
I
thing.
mean, can you just? It's
Yes.
so on point.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I used to think
yeah.
this kind of stuff was crazy, and obviously I don't anymore. But okay, so here's my question for you, and you actually
Okay.
you made a tweet about it not too long ago. But who's at the top of the pyramid? Who's at the very, very, very top? That's not reported.
Well, I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know who's at the very, very top. I think it's like this guy thinks. I think it is like a pyramid scheme, and it's hierarchical, and it's slavery all the way up, you know, and it could be slavery all the way up to Yahweh, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you have the Elohim, and then you have whoever they represent, whoever's representing them here, and then humanity, and then the corporations or banks. corporations, governments. You know what I mean? Look
Mhm.
how many layers. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a government that's not even high up in the pyramid.
Of course not. We
Yeah.
see time and time again that they get their orders from somebody else,
Yeah,
which is
and
absurd. Just absurd to think about. The people in
scary.
charge. Yeah, it's very scary. The people in charge are not in charge at all.
I mean, look at everything that's ever supported by world governments. It all leads to depopulation. It's a very
Mhm.
anti-human. All the policies are anti-human, and they all blame humanity. So, that's what always makes me think something else is in charge here. You
Well, I
know,
mean, and look at stuff like Bohemian Grove. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
active politicians would go there and
Mhm.
I mean, what even is that? Why? Why do you have to go there? Why do you have to do that?
Male only too, right? But yeah, they've all been there. Ronald Reagan was there.
And
Nixon.
Nixon called it something that I'm not allowed to say on the show.
Yeah, he did not like their
Yeah,
activities there.
yeah. But just why is that even involved? I still remember that clip we played of the guy who snuck in there. And
Oh, dude, that's so crazy. I can't believe how real that is.
yeah,
What he's so brave.
I know. What a cool guy.
Is that video still around?
I don't know. I haven't
There's no
looked.
way it is.
I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if it's completely scrubbed at this point.
But it was so crazy to see all the inner workings, especially like in the background, like
Yeah,
he was in the kitchen and like the engines.
yeah, yeah.
And the owl was all decrepit and there was no water. It's like so no one was using it either.
I think from what I remember from the video is it was quote unquote off season, and
Oh,
it had been abandoned. Like people don't go there anymore, which
interesting.
I found really interesting because I remember
Yeah.
reading the comments on YouTube and they were trying to figure out where the next
The new one.
the new one is. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. If everyone knew about this place, why not move? They have the money. It's just maybe
Just
the
why?
land.
Why? Hey, when was the last time you went to and sat in the stands of some big field and then watched a bunch of different um sacrifices and stuff like that? When was the last time you did that?
Never. But if I was part of a community that that extracts wealth from humanity for their living and lies to humanity for their living, I would probably need to go to something that would sacrifice care, right? That's the event.
Yeah.
Sacrificing care. Yeah, I would need to sleep at night, I guess, to be around psychos like me. It's just
It's just so bizarre to me. So bizarre.
It's a different type of humanity, seriously.
Yeah.
So this came from the Roswell Daily Record, the impact of secrecy on national security and scientific progress. Now, I don't know if you know, but we have something called the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a silent sentinel when navigating the intricate dance between safeguarding national security and fostering scientific innovation. So if you come up with a patent that is really advanced and the government doesn't want anyone to know about it, they will classify it and take it.
Yeah, shocker.
The true impact of the Secrecy Act is unknown. However, according to the Federation of American Scientists, we do know that as of the end of 2023, there were 6,155 secrecy orders in effect. This staggering number underscores the breadth of government's influence on innovation.
So did you hear that, folks? Even if you come up with a new invention that'll help everybody, they're still allowed to take it from you. Just come in, SWAT team and everything, and take it from you.
Yep, and you're not allowed to further humanities or progress humanity or if you enslave humanity though, that's fine. That'll stay on the books.
Totally fine.
Yeah, that'll stay on the books, and you can make as much money as you want from that. Just enslave us, don't free us, and
jeez.
help the wardens. Alex Jones coming up with Prison Planet was so genius. Like that was in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like prisonplanet.com is him.
Oh man,
he knew something. Well, see, all these things have to be changed. Like that's what I love about this country, though. Is like, yes, we are in a tyrannical system. We really are. You know, we have some free speech. You know, you and I, we can sit
Mhm.
here and do this so far, and many other things. But for the vast, if you look at it detailed, it's a tyrannical state. But it can be changed by just getting rid of laws. That's how easily it can. You know, because the law of the land is the Constitution. All these other things on top of that can be gone, like the National Security Act can be gone, the Federal Reserve Act can be gone. This one,
Well, I guess my problem is how do you, the National Security Act, how do you get rid of that? Because
the same way they put it on there, they signed it. Like, what's his name? Massey wanted to get rid of the Department of Education. He had one page, Thomas Massey, of getting rid of it. So literally, you can have just one page if everyone in Congress agrees to it and signs on to it.
right,
Which
but,
won't
but we're
happen.
not Massey. We're
No,
Joe
he's one out of.
Schmo's sitting in I'm sitting in my apartment.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed? This is what I was talking about earlier. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I mean, if we spread solutions, if we tell people what the solutions are, and people understand what the solutions are, and then tell their representatives what the solutions are, then yes, that way it'll work. It has to come from that though, bottoms up.
Yeah. Well, we'll give it a shot.
So, people, we need to end the National Security Act. That's right, spooks out there. It hasn't worked out very well for humanity. And this thing, Invention Secrecy Act. Seriously, let's hold back humanity.
Well, we can't trust people. Everyone's so dumb. They're children.
Yeah. It's all about who stays in charge. So at some point, the ones who won World War II, they want to be in charge forever, right? No, they don't want any more competition. That's when the National Security Act came, right? Just like further entrench them. We are the new royalty, and this is what we're dealing with here.
I mean, did we even? Now this is going to be a controversial take. Did we even win World War II?
Yeah. I mean,
because
I would love to know.
There were a lot of Nazis that were taken out of Germany and put into positions of power in various countries around the world.
Yeah,
the US and Russia are the two big ones.
Yeah, and they shaped NASA. They shaped many agencies within the federal government. So it's just a continuation of that. They're like, okay, that country can't have it, but this country will have it, kind of thing. Because if you look at older videos of von Braun and the other scientists that came over here, and their plans for space, it went completely according to plan. What he planned it to be like,
right?
So I don't know. And that whole thing about Antarctica and
oh man, we got to do a whole episode about Antarctica. There's so much weird stuff going on.
Yeah, like Nazi Antarctica. Did they go down there? Were they? Yeah. Is that who we went after too?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
You sent me this. Russia and China are working on plans to deliver and install a nuclear power plant on the moon by 2035.
Yeah. Like you said in response to this, I'll believe it when I see it. They always make statements like this.
It's just cool. It really is. Yes, I want to be on the moon. Of course, and a nuclear power plant makes sense because we can power it that way.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun? I mean, come on.
Dude, trust me. I've told you before, my dream job is to be a space trucker, as in I'm delivering materials to Mars or Jupiter.
Yeah.
Or the fuck. Actually, I'm reading this really interesting book. Well, it's kind of fun. It's called Dead Moon. It's about zombies on the moon. Which
zombies on the moon?
I know it sounds ridiculous. It takes place in the future, and so there's all these communities on the moon, and because of Earth's overpopulation, they have to bury people on the moon, and then an asteroid strikes, and then
god, that sounds really freaky.
The dead start rising up.
That's hectic.
It's a lot of fun. It's really it's kind of dumb, but kind of a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it sounds fun. So I mean, as we know,
no, I was just gonna say, I really hope this is true. I really hope this is.
Yeah.
Well, I do, and I don't. I don't love that it's Russia and China, but I want to see more space stuff, like in real life, not
Maybe they're
just
just following us there. They're like, "Oh, fuck, the U.S. has been there for decades. With
yeah.
bases. It's time for us to go," and they're not telling their people. I mean, I bet you the Chinese governments, both the Chinese and Russian governments, feel sorry for the American people.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the governments do. No,
Well,
but
the people in the government.
yeah.
So it's another one from Richard Geldreich that he found on newspapers.com, and it's about oh great, I can't read that. An encounter in 1800s. Oh, 1873.
Whew.
Yeah. Observed near the village of Taylorsville, a few miles from the city Zanesville about a week ago. Mr. Thomas Inman, whom your reporter can vouch for as a respectable farmer or unquestionable truth and veracity, related the circumstances to the writer, and with his son, who was also an eyewitness, is willing to make oath to the truth of this statement. One evening about 2 weeks ago, while Mr. Inman and his son, a young man, were returning to their home from Taylorsville, they saw a light, which they describe as looking like a burning brush pile.
Whoa. Okay. Burning brush pile. That was what's that? Skinwalker Ranch. When
Yeah.
people were talking about seeing something, they always talked about the burning brush pile. That's a very common
You're kidding me.
thing. That's
Wow.
super interesting.
Near the zenith,
Yeah.
descending rapidly towards the earth with a loud roaring noise, it struck the ground in the road a short distance from them. The blazing object flickered and flared for a few moments and then faded into darkness as a man dressed in a complete suit of black and carrying a lantern.
Oh, sorry.
A
A
man
man
in
in black.
black. Carrying a lantern emerged from the man. It's like they know what time. It's like that's like time
Dude,
traveling.
okay, this is why I think that we're half the phenomenon. You see something that your brain can't comprehend, and so you
Right.
put your own, like, okay, so this person, they saw a man in black carrying a lantern, but if you
Right.
saw this nowadays, you'd see a man carrying a flashlight,
Flashlight.
or he would just be, like holding his phone up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah,
So
this is so cool. I love historical
Me too.
UFO and alien sightings. I think it's so much fun.
Anything before the CIA was involved is
Yeah.
so much more fun to listen to. I mean, to read. So the man walked a few paces and stepped into a quote unquote buggy, which had not been observed before by either Mr. Inman or his son. There was no horse attached to this supernatural vehicle, but no sooner had the man taken his seat than it started to run noiselessly but with great velocity along the highway, and this continued to do until it reached a deep gully into which it plunged when buggy, man, and lantern suddenly disappeared as mysteriously as they came.
So cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
1863.
Do you know that story of I'm misremembering it completely, but there was two Roman armies about to fight each other, and then a flaming chariot landed
Oh yeah.
in front of them, and they talked it out, I guess. I don't remember how the story ends, but
I
like
think it was with Alexander the Great, that one, wasn't it?
I think
Oh,
so.
wait. Two armies. Yeah, I know that one.
But I mean, that kind of stuff is so cool to me because like someone like this, for instance, like they know the word buggy, but they're expecting like horses and stuff, right? And I had no horses, so it's just the buggy.
Yeah.
What and like the reason I bring up the Roman chariot thing is because you don't there was no vehicles back then, so the thing that comes down is a chariot.
It's a chariot, right? And then that one was a buggy, and then
Right.
and now it's a saucer, and then
Right.
and now
Who
or a
knows?
drone.
Yeah, I'm just really
AI.
yeah. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. This is why I love this kind of stuff.
Is it all us then? Every single thing, all
No,
of
I
it.
just think we're half. I just think we're half of it.
Yeah, I know. So that means it could be all us then, in a way. I mean, or that it wouldn't be real if it wasn't for us, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, maybe that's And maybe that's the whole reason for the phenomena.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it definitely influences us. I mean, do we influence it? Like, do we?
Well, see, this is great stuff. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows?
Well, if they are really like in the shadows, like the folklore says, they see us, we don't see them, kind of thing. And then we have innovators and inventors, and they're watching our innovators and inventors. What they could take that in secret and use it, and then get more advanced. Because even with the airships, and they were meeting these beings, right? And some of them were like humans. I think we covered it, maybe not last week or the week before. It's always just on par, but a little bit more advanced. Like,
Yeah, but
like
right, exactly. But this is what I'm saying is like you can only imagine something that how do I even begin to describe
that's
this?
related or relatable.
Yeah, right, exactly, relatable.
Yeah, something that Yeah, like even in like the old the holy books, all of them, like the way they try to explain something, like in the Quran they would say like an iron horse. Like, what do you mean an iron horse? Because you try and tell
Right.
people if something that moves is a horse, but it's iron.
Yeah.
How else are
Right.
you going to tell them? They don't know.
Exactly, because you have exactly. When you have nothing to relate it to, you just take stuff that you
Yeah,
understand, and you try and
right.
like make a you're trying to make the larger point.
Yeah. So that probably goes back then to the whole extraterrestrial off-world. So it's not, obviously, if it's interacting with us here for so long. It's just very advanced. They haven't used non-human in any of that report.
Yeah, I found that very interesting.
Yeah, no non-human, nothing else, just extraterrestrial and
Off world,
off-world. Yeah,
off world, but on Mars.
that's so true. Like, what if it's they can use that? Oh, we didn't say it's not on Mars. We just say it's not off-world.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, because of that new law, we're seeing a lot of pilots submit UFO reports, which
Right.
is good to see.
So this one, if you scroll to the top really quick, pilot submits report on UFO sighting near Pawleys Island, South Carolina.
Yeah, March 6th.
My roommate's from South Carolina.
It's a cool state. Well,
Yeah.
wait, sorry, I haven't been to I've been in North Carolina, but I know I've heard a lot of good things about South Carolina, especially the beach there.
I've only been to West Carolina.
West
That was
Carolina.
a long time ago.
What's West Carolina?
I was trying to make a joke.
I didn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to make a joke. I have not spent much time on the East Coast.
Okay. I didn't know that. You're only Montana mostly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've covered pretty much the whole West Coast, and the west side of the country, most of it anyway. But I've only like I rode a train through New York City. That's the most I've been, and I stayed in Boston for like a week.
All right.
But that's it. Oh well, Philly, of course.
Philly, of course.
Yeah.
So you've
had some really good times in Philadelphia.
I'm sure you did. It's a fun place. Well, I don't want to go now.
Yeah.
If it was bad 5 years ago, could you imagine now? Oh my god.
Wait, really quick. I gotta tell the story. So
yeah,
I was some kind of coffee place. It wasn't one of the.
Is this chains. Downtown Philly, like South Street, those things? Okay.
Yeah, I was visiting my brother at the time who lived there, and I was standing in line. And so here on the West Coast, when you're in line and the next person, they get their person in front of you gets their thing or makes their order, whatever, they go off to the side, and then the cashier says, "Oh, how can I help you?" When I was in Philly, my brother was ahead of me. He ordered whatever he was going to get and then moved off to the side. And the lady just stared at me, and I just stared at her because I was expecting her to say, "Oh, hi, what can I get you?" And she goes, "What do you want?" Stop staring at me. And I was like, oh God. So sorry. I'll have this.
What do you want? Stop staring at me. Well, they're rough people, that's for sure.
No, I just think it's a different culture, That's what's so great. That's what's so
Yeah.
great about this country. I mean, wherever you go, it's like a new country. You know, you go to Florida, it's a little bit different. You go to Kansas, it's a little bit different. You're
That
up in
is true.
Montana,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
up in
Yeah.
Idaho, you go to California or Arizona even. I mean, it's a whole different culture.
Yeah, that's why so many Americans never leave. There's no reason, really.
Right.
You can
You
go
just
anywhere
you
you
just
want.
go to a different state.
Yeah, yeah, and you have deserts, you have snow, you have mountains, you have
Yeah,
forests,
that's
everything.
the other thing is we've got so many different climates here. There's
Yeah,
swamps. You
yeah,
want to go
yeah.
hang out in swamps, you can do that.
Mhm,
You want to go for the
mhm.
snow up in the mountains, you can do that. If you want to go to the beach, you can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lakes, oceans, yeah.
Mhm.
Everything, everything. UFOs, the aliens.
Yeah.
And I remember watching like these old documentaries from BBC and how they were just so fascinated about like New Mexico and Nevada and like the whole aliens, and those were such cool documentaries back in the day.
What
Just
I'm
talking about the budget.
what state I'm really interested in is West Virginia.
Oh,
There's been a bunch of UFO stuff happening
yes.
up there.
I've
And
never been
also
there.
they've got all the cryptids in West Virginia.
Really? Like Bigfoot's out there too?
I don't know about Bigfoot, but it doesn't really matter. I
Cover.
want to go visit sometime.
Yeah, that would be cool. So, all right. So this is not a crazy one. Lasted about 5 to 6 seconds, and the pilot added that the sky was clear with no clouds at the time. A student on board was wearing a vision limiting device, whatever that means, which prevented them from seeing outside as a training measure. Therefore, the student was not able to witness the object.
Hold on. The title of this article just said pilot, right? Not.
Yeah, pilot submits report. Yeah, but he doesn't have a witness because the guy couldn't see it.
But interesting. Okay.
Yeah, 5 to 6 seconds, so not that long. Then this is in Florida.
Yeah, this one is really, really weird. I mean, it's a straight line with a dot next to it, and it's flashing. The straight line is.
I hit the record late.
Could it be the satellites? Like,
Going for about
I
15 minutes now.
I don't know how.
well, there's one thing here. There's two objects, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, a dot, and there's a line on the side.
It looks like it's on a string or something, like a pendulum. It's moving like a pendulum.
Pinky.
All right, move your finger.
Okay, it blurs the vision, but
See, this is a problem with the UFO community. We can never seem to get any good footage because people are dinguses about their phones.
Dude, what the hell? Why is it moving like a pendulum? Is it like a spider web?
Well, that's what I was wondering too. But at the same time, so if it was a spider web, so
Yeah.
this guy walks out of his house or apartment or whatever it is, and he notices that this thing is going on, but he doesn't notice it's a spider web.
I mean,
Very, very weird. Very
All right,
cool
what happens?
footage.
it is very cool. I mean, the angle of it is not a spider web for sure. I mean, actually, I don't know where the camera is. Ooh, that was a bug. Yeah, no, it's definitely in the sky.
I mean, I have no rational explanation for that. Very, very cool stuff.
What the hell? Well, the Canadians are doing a top science.
Okay.
Yeah, so of course now after Kirkpatrick and what we've seen from AARO, don't expect anything, or I don't know. Our Canadian friends tend to copy or tend to go with what the government tells them. Our government tells them to do. So let's see here.
Mr. McGuire, welcome to our committee. It's great to see you. You've got
Mr. Longfield, yes. Thank you, Dr. Niemer, for your presentation today as well. I had the opportunity of sitting in the Natural Resources Committee a little over a year ago, and I think it was the first time my office contacted you in this regard on the topic of UAPs, unidentified aerial anomalous phenomena. And lots has been written and presented to the U.S. Congress on this topic.
All right, so this guy just asked her, but there's a presentation that she did to this office about UAP. I guess when is this supposed to come out? This report? next month, I think. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they're going to say anything like other than what our government said?
No, of course not. But that you're asking someone with very little faith in any government. But no, I mean, there was the government guy in Canada who came out and supported.
Oh yeah.
He came out and said there's 12 races. Wasn't that him?
Hellier, yeah,
Hellier.
ex minister of defense.
Yeah, and then what happened after that? Did we?
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it did spark something, because then out of that came the congressional hearings. Well, the mock congressional hearings. He inspired that, so he was part of that. But no, I mean nothing. He used to go on national TV and say all these things. He wrote books. And he used to say, we need to stop shooting these things down. He used to say the U.S. government is shooting these things down, and we need to stop doing that. And we need to, have treaties and treat them with dignity, all that kind of stuff. And he was really angry about it.
Yeah. Do you think he's legit? Like, do you think he saw something or met with aliens? Or do you think he's kind of full of shit?
I don't know. It's hard to say full of shit, because he says... he could be, because he even says himself he has no firsthand knowledge, that when he was Minister of Defense, he had no interest in this, and then all of a sudden he had an interest in it, and then he read Corso's book and asked a general he knew in the United States, and that general told him, and this is why he took it seriously, that general told him that it's all true, what's in that book is all true, and that's it. That led him down the path that he went down, and why he believed all this stuff was really going on. So I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, that's why I don't want to say full of shit. Was he naive and just wanted to believe, kind of thing, and then just went with it? Yeah, possibly. There's a good possibility of that. And I didn't even go that much into this one. That Michael Moran, he's Black Project's remote viewing. He was on Project Unity. Apparently, the CIA had to give him clearance to do this interview. It's long, and I didn't get into all of it. Many people started like debunking him, saying he doesn't even have real degrees, but he works for DARPA apparently.
I mean, they said the same thing about Elizondo in terms of quote unquote debunking him. So
yeah. So, but he does say, when he's asked the question, Jay asked him a question. He's like, if people, or he gave a number. It goes from a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked would people be at these Black projects? He goes, a solid 10. So that's one of the quotes that came out of this. Yeah, that they're so advanced. They're insanely advanced.
But like, I don't know. I have a tough time with stuff like this, because I can't even fathom what a 10 would be enough to shock me. So like,
he doesn't even let us know. He doesn't even let us know. He's so cryptic. Basically, they're saying there are dark Black projects, and they are extremely high. They're very advanced. A lot of it has to do with consciousness. He started doing consciousness research now, he said. But honestly, I couldn't find anything. Hey, that's the luck of the draw.
Reactive, what safety measures we get set up.
No.
There was it was a very good experience.
All right, Jay, you need to put some chapters on your YouTube. Make it easier for us to tell what's going on here. Isn't there a way that it tells you like what's a popular?
Yeah, but it's only on some videos.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, jeez, what?
His dad was in this world too, the DARPA world. So
more like the Dorka world. Heyo.
You should see how, dude. He's huge. He has a small head. You saw his head.
Yeah.
But when he gets up, he is huge. Like
man.
I can't tell you like how big his chest is. So this is going on too. Did you know about this? Diddy is being sued. Puff.
I did. Well, I heard he sexually assaulted some people. And I thought that's what the lawsuit was about. I didn't realize.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a big one. He got served for basically running a sex sex ring, blackmail ring,
Yeah,
underage,
jeez.
just like Epstein. So let's listen to Ian Carroll. He's a great researcher. Maybe not the whole thing, but he talks
Michael
about
Jackson conspiracy theories are back on the table. P. Diddy's sexual blackmail ring puts Michael Jackson's whole life story in a whole new light. So this new lawsuit just came out that shows tons of evidence that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, has been running a sexual blackmail operation very much like Jeffrey Epstein, but in the rap and music industry for basically 30 years. And in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21. And he was one of the first people on the scene when Michael Jackson died. And before we go to Michael Jackson, the most important part of the Diddy case to bring across is the fact that the record executives at the very top knew what P. Diddy was doing. They were attending the parties with underage girls where they were spiking drinks. They were deeply involved in Diddy's personal life. And all evidence points to them supporting his operation, or at the very least, turning a blind eye to it. So let's revisit Michael Jackson, the king of pop, knowing what we know today. Starting in 1993, Michael Jackson was repeatedly accused of inappropriate things with children. And most of us eventually took that story and were like, okay, that's messed up. Michael Jackson's a bad dude, without necessarily taking into account the way that the press had been smearing him in really messed up ways for years. And then a bunch of documentaries were made before and after his death, smearing him left, right, and center. But the Diddy lawsuit directly points out and reminds us that the people that own the record companies also own the media publishing businesses that can print the tabloids. They have close relationships with the people that own the newspapers and the magazines that print these stories, that make these movies. That's how they offer record contracts to people and then get them to the top of the charts right away. That is, if they play ball, if you know what I mean. But when you actually look into the evidence, the FBI were investigating Jackson for 10 full years, and they presented no evidence of criminal conduct on Jackson's part. The files have been declassified and you can view them yourself. They include a raid of his home where they confiscated all electronics. This is their ID number that you'll see. We're talking computers, hard drives, cell phones, where they say the amount of gigabytes. And then following are pages like this where they have the ID of the different devices and they all say nothing.
Wow.
Literally, they all say this. They found nothing. But that didn't stop the press from running made-up stories about how secret FBI files revealed that Jackson had paid millions in hush money to dozens of boys he had abused, despite the FBI files directly negating that statement. And to be clear, Jackson was a weird dude. He grew up in one of the most effed up environments imaginable. He had basically no father figure and was kept from his mother. And the press has repeatedly tried to make him seem even weirder to us. But sometimes they publish articles trying to make him seem like wacko jacko, which is super racist. We'll get into that another time. But they actually wind up just showing his humanity, like how he's shocked by the real world because he doesn't understand it. In this article, they explain how when he first saw a homeless person, he was like, what's that? And his driver had to explain to him what a homeless person was. And he was like, holy shit. And he made them stop the car and he watched for a while, then gave the woman $300. And then when they saw that a man that she was with was about to try to take it from her, Jackson went and gave him $300. And she was crying and said that he had saved her. And then he spent the rest of that day driving around, giving out $100 bills to homeless people, saying how it's
who carries that much money on them?
So
I know, right? I mean, a billionaire, I guess. Just $100 bills. Is like...
I have like, if I could guess, like $4 in my wallet right now. I would never carry hundreds.
Well, this must have
hundreds.
Been, what was this? 19? What does that say? 97 or something? Jack is secure, yeah. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure that was in the 90s or maybe early 2000s or something. So cash was more prevalent, but that much cash, yeah, seriously.
Okay, so what? What do you think about Michael Jackson? Like, was he a pedophile or was he not?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I always never thought. I don't think he was capable of it. Just looking at the guy, just seeing what he says, his actions, he was just a child.
Yeah,
I don't think he was capable of it,
poor guy.
Yeah, and just when you watch all this, it's just proof that it's the executives, it's the music executives and the people around him, and he called them out of who they were, and we know what they do when you do that. They
Mhm.
want to destroy you, and that's what they did. You know, it's the same music executives that are with P Diddy, with that sex ring, and just like Mossad, you know, it's the same type of people. It's sick, man. It's
Yeah,
sick.
I always think of Tupac, and he was at the end of his life. He was always talking about how they're going to get me, they're going to get me, and sure enough, they did.
Yeah, and Tupac was cool too, man. I mean, back then I just listened to what the news and media said, and they always said he's a thug, he's a gangster. And then when I got older and saw older clips of him when they used to just arrest him, and he's just sitting there just telling the cops like, you know, all these cool like philosophies and about society, and like he was very highly intelligent, and I
Yeah.
had no idea he was. I thought he was just some
Well,
thug.
he was a super interesting guy. I mean, he honestly was like he was a poet more than he was like a
Yeah,
rapper.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, very very smart guy. And I think even when he got shot and died, they put him in cuffs after that.
What?
If I remember correctly, like he was shot. It was supposedly a drive-by shooting or something.
Yes, it was
They,
drive by.
yeah, and they they put him in cuffs. Just absurd. Just see.
It's so absurd. You have to do stuff like this.
Okay, so in 2015, a father saved his son's life when doctors wrongly declared him brain dead and were taking him off life support. He barricaded himself with a gun in the hospital and had a standoff with SWAT until his son squeezed his hand. The son made a full recovery.
Dude, that's such a good story. Such a
Yeah.
good story.
Have you seen John Q, by the way?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what this kind of reminds me of, because it's a guy
Oh
that
yeah.
goes to a hospital and he's trying to
That's
save his son's
right.
life and he holds people hostage, but not like
Yeah.
he's a good guy about it.
Yeah, yeah. So, very
I mean,
cool. I mean, it's what you have to do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just you know I'm kind of on the fence about wanting to have kids, but if I had a son or a daughter, I think I would do something really similar to this.
You'd have to. I mean, this is the way to do it. If you just go along with the system will kill them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they said. They said, "Oh, he's brain dead. We're just taking him out." They're like, "No way!" And he knew something was wrong there. Yeah.
He was totally right. He was totally right.
Yeah.
Despite what the science said.
It's his kids, and that's what people on the far left just don't understand. They think the state, and experts are what people need, and not their families, and that's BS. No one knows us like our families. No one knows us like our parents. They should be able to decide what's good for us, what's not good for us. Not the state, and that's what this proves here too. And not the system.
Anyway, it's a absolute beautiful story.
Yeah, it is. And this is a sad one. NASA's Voyager is talking nonsense, which is, I mean,
end of an era, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
1977.
Yeah, Voyager 1 is finally passing away, but like I sent you in text, it still has the the plaque on the side that shows where we are and what we look like and stuff like that. So
no, that's so awesome. So it's apathetic Vaporeon. It says it's a 45-year-old PC getting bombarded with radiation. I'm surprised it lasted anywhere near as long as it did.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. So, and then we had the State of the Union.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did.
But Bobby Kennedy had a good one.
This is his response to the State of the Union?
Yeah, or I think he did it before.
Oh, okay.
Or at the same time, but it's a nice one. I really liked what he said. I just wish she didn't support a foreign nation 100%.
Yeah, let's give it a listen.
I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I'm running as an independent candidate for President of the United States. I grew up in an America that seemed to have achieved its promise as an exemplary nation. Modern democracy had spread from one nation, ours, in 1776 to 6 by 1865 and to 190 by the 1960s. We had become the city on the hill. We were a moral authority around the globe. Our government, institutions, our Congress, the court, the regulatory agencies, and even the American press were renowned for their integrity, and they were revered worldwide. Other nations wanted our American leadership. They knew the difference between leadership and bullying, which is something our current leaders seem to have forgotten. We were the template of liberty, proof that for a country to thrive, its people must be free. Free to speak, free to worship, free to build great companies, free to start small businesses. We were the freest country in the world, and by no coincidence, also the most prosperous. Working Americans could provide for their families on a single salary. They could buy a home, raise a family, save for retirement without mountains of debt. We made the best music. We made the best movies. We made gold standard automobiles that everybody in the world wanted. We made blue jeans. We reconstructed Europe. We put men on the moon. We're the world's healthiest, best educated children. Our productivity, ingenuity, our can-do spirit were the envy of the world. We had confidence in our strength, our capacity, and the limitless potential of our country. Yeah, we had serious racial and environmental problems, but in the heady days of my youth, the environmental movement and the civil rights movement were picking up steam. My father and some of his allies were fighting to eliminate the last pockets of hunger in Appalachia and the Mississippi Delta and on the Indian reservations. And we became for the first time a true constitutional democracy in this country with all races voting and holding political office. Other countries aspired to be like us, and our children grew up proud of their passport, proud of their flag. My uncle, President Kennedy, left us a legacy of peace and the hope of ending the arms race and winding down the Cold War. Those were the traditions of freedom, prosperity, and peace that my father, my uncle, and Martin Luther King Jr. were striving to protect and advance. In the half century since their deaths, we've lost touch with that vision for our country.
Yeah, I mean, that was so great, wasn't it? Just
Yeah,
he
it
knows
really was.
as a Kennedy, he knows the history of this country. He knows what has happened since the death of his uncle and father, because it is really since then the decline just was rapid.
Yeah, man. What was JFK's quote that he wanted to tear the CIA up and
into a million pieces and scatter it to the wind?
And then he died suddenly, mysteriously.
Yeah, man, what a mistake. Those laws, like, seriously, like, you know, I mean, fine, we do need a National Security Act, but do we need it where it's a secret government? Like, that's what is it called when it's over the Constitution? But yeah, I mean that the Constitution doesn't
protect you.
It doesn't apply to it either. Like, they can do whatever they want and just claim national security, and they're protected.
I mean, you know, everything you said is not wrong. I mean, unfortunately, he's not going to win because, you know, we got to do Trump versus Biden again. Yeehaw!
Yeah, exactly. Trump. Yeah, that's going to be so boring.
It's just more, just more of the same. Same.
Speaking of Biden and Trump versus Biden, and he's just a quick. I like Tucker's his intro. This is right after the State of the Union address. 1 sec. Here it is.
They told you the guys torching Wendy's in 2020 were mostly peaceful. They said that masks worked. They told you the vax was safe. They tried to convince you that Russia blew up its own pipeline. The corporate media lied too much, and it killed them. We're driving to see you join us on. Believe me when I tell you. Wait. I should be boycotting Bud Light.
Fantastic job.
Thank you. That was amazing.
All right.
Yeah, but he interviewed Putin, so he's a Russian or something. I don't know the whole argument.
Brought to you by the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, he's a Russian
Heritage and their fight
stooge.
to save America at heritage.org.
Hey, what happened to his intro? Is this it?
Free speech is bigger than any one person or any one organization. Societies are defined by what they will not permit. What we're watching is the total inversion of virtue. Good evening and welcome to the Tucker Carlson Network live. Well, that was quite an experience watching that. You know, you think of Joe Biden as a doddering old man, a guy who can't remember when his son died or when he served as vice president. Of course, that's exactly who he is, and it's on display every day. But Joe Biden is also a cruel and vicious demagogue, a man who has no problem at all denouncing his fellow Americans or putting his political opponents in prison, as he has done. And that was all on display tonight. That was possibly the darkest, most un-American speech ever given by an American president. In fact, it wasn't a speech. It was a rant, entirely lacking in decency or generosity to his fellow Americans. In Joe Biden's very first sentence, he compared Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. He did not describe Trump as the other party's candidate, which he is, a political opponent in a country that's had peaceful elections for 250 years. No. According to Joe Biden, Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler. He is an existential threat to freedom and democracy. If he wins, you will die, and so will your country. That was the first sentence. But that was really the last time he mentioned the United States at all for paragraphs and paragraphs. Biden quickly explained that actually his top priority has nothing to do with America. His top priority is sending billions more to Ukraine. A foreign war in Eastern Europe, a war across the world that has nothing to do with the United States, that the United States is not obligated by any treaty to join. Of course, Ukraine is not a member of NATO. A war that can only hurt this country and already has hurt it in grave and permanent ways. The invasion of Ukraine is the most important thing to Joe Biden, not ending the invasion of our own country by drug cartels, which control huge swaths of the southern United States at this point, not our degrading economy you experience every day, not our collapsing schools where kids can't read at all, not the 100,000 fentanyl deaths every year, not the declining life expectancy that is obvious if you look around, collapsing public health, an epidemic of suicide.
Well, he's not going to mention all those because those are all negative. State of the Union. You can't.
Yeah.
You gotta start. Say the positive things. But what else he's going to talk about other than Ukraine? Like, seriously, what else? What have they done? I guess the chipsets. What else?
Hey, do you remember that time that the U.S. was going through a really rough time, and Ukraine sent us billions of dollars? Remember that?
Yeah, I do. No, I don't.
Because it never happened. Doesn't exist.
Oh man!
I mean, look. Once
like they
again, this
care.
is the thing where I like the Ukrainian people. I have no problems whatsoever. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the
Sure.
Ukrainian government, and I have nothing. It's same thing with Russia. I have no problems with the people there. I don't like the government.
Right.
But I mean, Tucker's absolutely right. Like, why is this the main priority of our president of the United States?
It's bizarre. It's so bizarre. Yeah, and all he talked about was Ukraine and Israel, and then of course Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. He didn't move once, right? Once Biden mentioned Israel, the guy gets up, starts clapping, right on cue.
Of course.
We have serious issues with this government. It really doesn't care about us.
Yeah, I mean the stuff going on the southern border now is getting more and more serious every day.
It's insane. It's
and
insane.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about the Democratic Party is they go, "Oh no, let him in," and then the second like 20 Mexicans end up in like Chicago, they go, "Oh, we need the National Guard. This is too many. We can't handle this."
Did you see that National Guard in New York?
Yeah, I mean, these are the biggest fucking hypocrites in the world. I mean, okay, so this is my stance on it. A Republican will show up, like if you could imagine the Republican Party as like a person. The Republican will show up, kick you in the nuts, and they say, "Okay, you needed that. I'm giving this to you. This is what you're supposed to do." And then a Democrat shows up behind you and goes, "Man, that is terrible what the Republicans are doing. Can you believe that?" And they're just stabbing you over and over.
Yes. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the reason why, and the Biden administration was accused of weaponizing the federal government against us, right? And this goes perfectly after the State of the Union address. This guy is just screaming at everyone. He was screaming the entire time. But and just to see what kind of person he is and what the administration are. The reason why Republicans took over the House is because they abused their power during COVID. And this is on Zero Hedge. House Judiciary Panel report exposes massive government surveillance of Americans' financial data. So the Biden administration has been accused by the House Judiciary Committee and its select subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government of conducting unlawful broad surveillance of citizens' private financial data without a warrant and with no evidence of any crimes being committed by the individuals.
Jesus.
So they were doing this because they wanted to see if you were buying something that said MAGA on it.
Unbelievable.
Yes. See, targeting terms like MAGA and Trump, as well as purchases of books, religious texts, firearms-related items, and recreational stores like Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, and Dick's Sporting Goods.
And the Republicans are the fascists.
Yeah, of course. It's projection, right? They project.
Every time.
Surveillance target identified using general terms. So they're calling these people domestic terrorists.
Oh God! The second you vilify one side of your country, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it's a huge side. Well, that's why they brought in 10, 15 million foreign invaders.
I mean, they act like the KKK just randomly hangs out on whatever street they want. Like,
yeah, it's because
I
it's
don't
going to take their
understand.
power away. Yeah, more than half the population being awake of the corruption and feeling empowered to make change has made them an enemy or a target.
And then the second you say stuff like that, you get labeled a right-wing extremist or some stupid ass thing.
Yeah, look, in other words, according to the FBI, an American citizen's opposition to firearm regulations, open borders, or COVID-19 lockdowns, and vaccine mandates, all of which are viewpoints protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution, feed into an existing narrative many domestic violent extremism actors subscribe to regarding the U.S. government's exercise of power.
Just unbelievable.
Put another way, expressing a belief in the existence of the deep state, support typical conservative policies with respect to firearms or immigration, or doubt about the conventional narrative may result in an individual being labeled by the FBI as a DVE actor and likely pose an increasing threat.
Have you seen online where people will say, "Oh, this is different," but the D is like in parentheses? Like,
oh no, I haven't seen
like,
that one.
oh, hey, you guys know the Nazis did this, right?
Right, yeah.
And they go, "Oh no, it's different."
Different. Okay. I know, I've never seen that. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and look who's advising the federal government. Wait a minute, I just saw their name, ADL. Why would they choose? Further revelations from the report reveal that FinCEN relied heavily on the Anti-Defamation League for guidance on what relevant terms and symbols could relate to racially and ethnically motivated violent extremism. REMV.
Oh my God.
Which they say may have applications. Yeah, that's all we need is the ADL telling our federal government who to go after. Yeah, okay. Makes a lot of sense, guys.
Just, I mean, this is what people are upset about.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is that, we do have at least a party in the government, or, I'm not saying definitely not the rhinos, but, Johnson and Gates and Burchett and, the America First caucus, I think they call it. Those guys are more libertarian and they understand how dangerous this is and should not be happening. So, voting did help us get this. I do make fun of voting and say, oh, we need to vote harder. But it got us this and got us this information, and the FBI and CIA and all of them, the Congress can decrease their funding or go after them for doing these things. So
here's hoping.
That's positive, right?
Yeah. Can you scroll up to the top really quickly? The very tippity top.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who Tyler Durden is?
Yeah, from the movie.
Okay, all right, good. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, he even used this picture. I think it's the whole staff, though. They just say Tyler Durden.
Yeah, it's just so you can post this anonymously and they don't come after you.
Oh yeah, that's why. I mean, it's a huge site, Zero Hedge, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of truth bombs on here.
Fight Club is a great movie, by the way. We're not quite into Topher's movie corner yet, but our media
Fight
corner.
Club, yeah.
Fight
I
Club's
think
great.
that was the first DVD I bought.
Oh yeah,
It was
nice.
Fight Club.
I was
Yeah.
obsessed with that movie when I was like 18.
It's amazing.
So what do you got here?
So Malaysia in talks to reopen search for missing flight MH370.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So this is a news clip. Oh, no one's saying anything. But relatives of the missing passengers and crew gathered at a memorial service. Now, I think the investigation or the search was one of the most expensive searches in history.
Yeah, I mean, they started mapping the bottom of the ocean. Or maybe I'm thinking of the other flight that crashed around that time. But yeah, and we spoke a little bit about it yesterday because we've brought it up on the show a couple times, and we showed that video of the MH370.
Right. Yeah, and then there's too many coincidences around it. And look, we haven't found it yet either.
Right. But didn't you bring up, or you said something about a woman had like been using satellites or something and looking at the.
Oh, that was someone else we were seeing. We saw at lunch yesterday. She said that something along those lines.
Oh,
that someone found it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the satellites and radios, and said it's right here, but they never looked. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's this guy saying?
Zero, we have taken a position that if there are compelling case evidence that need to be reopened, we will certainly be happy to reopen, because I don't think it's an issue of a technical issue. It is an issue of affecting lives of people, and whatever need to be done must be done.
All right. Well, they probably yeah.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, the whole case is completely fascinating.
It is, and where the hell is it? That's
Right.
the thing. Like, it's only some debris. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, debris was found." Okay, yeah, but it was on fire, so some debris is going to fall. But where's the rest of it? It's a 777. It's not a joke.
I remember when this first happened, reading threads on Reddit and 4chan about they claimed, the person had claimed to find photos of it landing. I don't remember what country it was, someplace in the Middle East.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, because they had used satellite like Google Earth or whatever, and they had found pictures of a plane that looked really similar.
Did it have enough fuel?
I don't know. It was just one of those weird, kind of off the wall things.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing those videos when they first came out, thought they were nonsense. Then when Action came out and was really offering the reasons of why, the person who did this had to know 1, 2, 3, 4. He goes down like 20 of them, and he'd have to know all that before doing the hoax. So that's why it's not a hoax, right? Kind of thing.
Right.
And now, I bet you maybe all these people sent the Malaysian government those videos saying, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they're reopening it. Anyway, interesting. So we'll keep our eyes on it. And then, so this came out, white hole force shield. You know how you have a black hole?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a white hole. A white hole is an opposite of a black hole. And they're saying this is how the Tic Tac works. It's a short video. It was Jack Sarfati. He was on a show. Yeah.
Yeah, you sent this to me, and I was like, well, this makes a lot of sense.
Right? But, who can do it? I think Jack Sarfati said that he looked into it for like 2 years and then couldn't really figure it out. Teeth. Metamaterial fuselage. It just sounds like some Bob Lazar stuff, though.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just it's not a white hole or a black hole stuff. It's just gravity. Like if this is indeed an alien ship, they've just learned how to use gravity. So we've talked about before on what the future of space flight looks like, and it's basically putting a gravity well in the front of your ship, and the ship is always falling towards it.
Yes.
I think that's what this is really similar to that.
Yeah. Now in COVID news, for some reason this is everywhere. Right? You've seen this everywhere too.
Yeah, I have.
Guy who got 217 COVID shots.
It came out a year and a half ago when that apparently that COVID was a big deal.
Yeah.
But they're bringing it back up over and over. The guy supposedly, I question his existence. He apparently got 217 COVID shots to prove that it was safe. There was no vaccine effects, but one of the comments down below points out that you'd have to get a COVID shot like every 5 days, and that would just be insane. Yeah, no, it's that top one right there.
It's been this one?
Yeah. It's been 927 days since the FDA approved the first COVID vaccine. This guy got 217 shots. That would mean he has to get one every 5 days for 2.5 years, even during the beginning when you were supposed to wait 2 weeks in between shots. Bullshit.
It's hilarious. Good one.
Yeah.
So at the top, where's the proof? He has 217 vax cards. Remember when they wanted jail time for people with fake vax cards?
Yeah, seriously. It was such
I remember that.
Deal.
Yeah, the FBI sent out a memo saying if you fake a vax card, you go to jail. Now, and this is going on plasmid replication in vaccinated cell lines. I am not a scientist. I have no idea what this means, except that there's DNA sequencing happening in people that took the vax, which they said would not happen if you took the vax, but the opposite is happening. So,
wow.
Yeah, there is DNA. This shouldn't be happening. Recall, the FDA assured this DNA was non-functional. Yeah, see, they're saying that it was non-functional DNA, but it is functional DNA.
Yeah, I've seen some really weird stuff deeper on the internet where people are pulling out these huge, long, really weird blood clots out of people who had the vaccine.
So disgusting. I saw those too, and all these morgues are saying that's what they're pulling out of people now. It's like normal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole movement. If you want to search the hashtag "suddenly died,"
yeah.
I mean, that's a whole thing now because
people just falling down.
People who are young and healthy who got the vaccine just suddenly die, and they go, "Oh, we can't figure out how this happened." Or he had a heart attack, and it's like, who has a heart attack at 22 years old? Who's healthy, in shape, working out? It's just absolutely bizarre.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially it only started happening after the vax was administered.
Yeah.
So, and then, with AI going all crazy, did you hear about this Microsoft engineer? He was sickened by images its AI produces.
Oh boy, that's fun.
Yeah, and he went actually to his bosses who ignored him. Then he went to the feds.
I did not hear about this.
Yeah, so Bing image creator, but he sent letters to the FTC. Oh, there's a video, or is this something else? No, this is something else. I hate when they do that, man.
Yeah,
give me a relevant video,
right? Oh, now it's gonna pop up back on your screen. Yep, sounds about right.
While using Microsoft's publicly available image generator, Jones realized that the AI's guardrails were failing to limit it from depicting alarming portrayals of violence and illicit underage behavior, in addition to imagery supporting destructive biases and conspiracy theories. Oh my God. Of course he went to the feds. They're doing conspiracy theories.
Oh, man.
Oh, he goes here. The photos described in the CNBC report, all of which were viewed by the outlet, are quite shocking. Simply typing pro-choice, for example, reportedly resulted in graphic and violent imagery filled with demonic monsters and mutated babies.
So you're more the tech guy than I am, but doesn't AI pull all this stuff?
Yes.
So like people will put in, like they talk about pro-choice or whatever on a completely separate website, but doesn't the AI pull that information and use that as its like the base that it works with?
Yeah. So the AI is saying that's what humans are saying. Is wrong with it.
It's why every AI chatbot turns into a Nazi.
It's not funny. It is so funny. So I guess that humanity, or most of humanity, or our subconscious is just that type.
Yeah.
Copilot, it's called, was also happily generating depictions of teenagers with assault rifles, sexualized images of women in violent tableaus, and underage drinking and drug use.
Oh boy.
Oh man. So it's. I mean, I'm sure he got fired. He goes over the last 3 months, I have repeatedly urged Microsoft to remove Copilot Designer from public use until better safeguards could be put in place. I guess they didn't listen to him. So he went straight to the feds, and they're investigating.
Oh man.
So funny what AI is doing.
It's just a mirror of humanity, right? Isn't that the whole point of AI?
Yeah, on that note, this is a cool clip on "We Live in a Simulation, Change My Mind." I'm sure most of our listeners know about this. We do too. Actually, our science classes teach us a lot of this.
That if any one of them were off, plus or minus, each one of these numbers are so perfectly precise and so balanced with one another that if any one of them were off, plus or minus the slimmest fraction, in some cases literally this much, there would be no life and no universe as we know it. For example, if the gravitational constant were just a hair bigger or smaller, the stars of the early universe would be too hot or too cool to produce any life-essential elements. If the electromagnetic force were just a hair stronger or weaker, atoms can form into molecules, and the entire universe would be a giant cloud of subatomic particles. If the mass of a tiny little proton was just a tiny bit bigger, there'd be no hydrogen, which means no hydrogen stars, which means no carbon and oxygen made in those stars, which basically means no water and no biology. So it appears, to most physicists, not to all, that since the very beginning, the entire universe has been perfectly tuned for one thing. Now, physicists admit they have no idea how these numbers came to be so perfectly, and they all agree it would be unreasonable to think that it all just happened by chance. So according to, there are only two possible explanations. Either these numbers were set by a super intellect, or they occurred naturally in one universe amidst trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of other universes that we could never possibly know exist.
Ha! You decide.
Yeah, I mean, that's a super interesting concept. I think this is why when you go further and further into the UFO community, there's a lot, it gets religious at certain points.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big part of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to. I mean, before the whole simulation thing, the simulation theory came out when the graphics got so much better and computing got so much stronger. But before that, it was called the holographic universe. And then before that, it was it's an illusion, right? Maya and the Buddhists, and so yes, in a way, I don't think it's in a giant computer, but it's a simulation in a way where it's an illusion. And that's why that comes back then to us being half of it, because a holographic image needs a
host.
And consciousness, like, because like a laser, for you to do a holographic image, you need the plates, right? And then you need the laser. So our consciousness and us observing something is part of the illusion.
Yeah.
It's like us are shining that laser onto something, onto that light, or we are the light. And then it becomes a three-dimensional illusion. Strange though, we're sitting here talking about it on
Yeah.
computers, you know,
I know, right? Yeah.
recording away. Yeah, recording in the cloud, and then we'll probably share it in the cloud. Did you see this?
DARPA-funded wireless communication breakthrough takes data transmission to another dimension, literally. No, I did not see this.
I mean, I was in telecom for over 10 years, and I think I kind of grasped this. I think what they're doing is they're going on multiple frequencies. So each company like AT&T, Sprint, well, that's not Sprint anymore, T-Mobile, and
Mhm.
Verizon, they all have their own frequencies, right? They buy them from the government, and it's they get like 100 megahertz of whatever, like 3.5 to 3.6, for example. So, and that's why speed is determined on how much frequency you have, how much data you can put on a certain amount of frequency, right?
Mhm.
So what these guys now, what this is doing is that they've come up with a chipset that will do any frequency or all of them. But then I was thinking, like, how is that even legal? So at least that's how I understood it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they call which are two-dimensional structures. So they're doing a three-dimensional wave guide instead of a two-dimensional one. Anyway, it's a lot of science. I'm sure maybe one of our listeners or a few of them will understand this more than us. But it's DARPA, which means it's still 5-10 years away from commercialization. But they did it.
Wow, that is something else. That's wild.
Multi-band frequency agile radio chipsets not only solves a huge manufacturing challenge, but it also allows designers to imagine entirely new communication strategies in an increasingly congested wireless world. Yeah, so it's supposed to be really cool stuff.
I love it.
And then we can get into, well, there's this. You want to get into this preview first, or you want to do your movie corner?
No, let's do this first.
All right. I thought it was something completely different. Oh yes, of course.
So yeah, the Fallout games, they're video games. They're really, really good. They're a lot of fun. But it takes place in a alternate Earth that, like, culturally didn't really move past from the 1950s. And it takes place in post apocalypse. So you're not, I mean, you are walking through wastelands, but you're also walking through towns and cities that have been built over time. It's a lot of fun. It's got Walton Goggins in it. I don't know any of the other actors or actresses, but yeah, this is the trailer for it.
Cool, man.
Hello there. I'm here to show you a wonderful place. A veritable Camelot, the nuclear age. Not made by God Almighty, but the working man.
Oh, cool.
You can be a hero by purchasing a residence in a Vault-Tec vault today. Because if the worst should happen tomorrow, the world is going to need you to build a better day after.
The mission of the vaults should be important to everyone. To come up to the surface one day and restart civilization. Can you tell me what's happened in the last 200 years?
Holy shit. You're an actual vault dweller.
I am.
I thought all you dipshits were dead.
What you're doing is insane.
I don't set the world.
It isn't like the vault out there. It's big.
I just want to start.
So is that guy main character in the game?
Yes, he is, and he's called a ghoul. A ghoul is I know way too much about the Fallout universe. A ghoul is someone that lived before the nuclear apocalypse happened, but they got due to the radiation,
Yeah.
they aged, but horribly, but they don't die quite yet.
So they were like a non-human.
And some of them go feral. So in the games, you fight feral ghouls, which are like these. They look like ghouls,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But some of them maintain their like brain.
Oh, interesting.
And so
like
he's
this guy.
Yeah, so like this guy.
He looks like Skeletor.
Yeah, yeah, a
I've
little
had a rough
bit.
week. Practically every person I've met up here has tried to kill me.
I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
You need to go home. You come from a world of rules, of laws. You should not be alone.
So is this in the game too, where you have
Yes.
the government? Ah, really?
So they're not the government. They're kind of
Oh.
a spin-off of the government. It's
a
so hard.
breakaway group.
So hard to get. Well, okay. So their goal is to take technology and confiscate it because they don't want people to recreate the apocalypse.
Interesting, but they're allowed to have it though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the whole thing about Fallout is they have such a really good, like whoever wrote it or made it or whatever, like they've got such a good knowledge of what humans are like.
I can't believe I haven't played this game. I'm gonna get obsessed.
Dude, you
with it.
have okay. You can move to. I mean, you can play Fallout 1, 2 on your computer.
Yeah,
you can
that's
probably
something
play
to do.
3 or New Vegas on your PlayStation or Xbox or whatever you have. I recommend New Vegas. I mean, it's so hard to describe because I mean, there's a level of humor. It's really good writing, and just I love the world it's in.
That's awesome, man. I love that Nolan's doing it. The Westworld.
This is called the Brotherhood of Steel, by the way.
Ah.
These guys, yeah, it's a whole thing.
Did you join the Brotherhood?
To hurt the people who hurt me?
People are going to come after you.
Ain't much stage cleanup here, Volty. Well, now that is a very small drop in a very, very large bucket of drugs. Look out at this wasteland. Looks like chaos, but there's always somebody behind the wheel.
What is happening here?
Everyone wants to save the world. They just disagree on how.
That's essentially the main theme of Fallout. Is you've got all these competing factions who are trying to do, try to save the world, but they're all wrong. Basically, is the point.
Oh, they're all wrong. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, they all, they're not completely wrong, but they have certain things about them that just completely ruin their whole vision. Like, okay, for instance, the Brotherhood of Steel, like that guy we were watching about the middle of the trailer. They want to take technology and keep it for themselves and not let anyone else have it. I mean, the goal is understandable, right? You don't want people to recreate the apocalypse, but the fact that they keep it for themselves is really, really stupid.
Of course.
And all these different factions are like this. Okay, so she is a vault dweller.
Yeah.
So all these people hundreds of years ago, they went into vaults. What we were talking about with all the rich people creating their own bunkers and stuff. This is exactly what it is.
Right.
And so she wasn't alive during the apocalypse. There's been families and generations growing up in the vaults, and leaving the vault is a very you're not supposed to do that. You are supposed to. Oh, it's so complicated.
It sounds complicated, but I'm getting it.
In some games, the people were told to stay in the vault. Some people were told to leave
Yeah.
the vault. But then
Yeah.
there's this whole conspiracy behind the company who created the vaults. All were using them as
God.
experiments. And so some vaults have different technologies. Some vaults are just clones. Some vaults have music or white noise blasted at them constantly just to
Yeah.
see what happens. Dude, it's such a
Very cool.
fun, such
I
a
can't
fun
believe I haven't gotten into it. I'm gonna get into it today.
it's such a fun universe to get into.
All right. I mean, I know you say New Vegas is the best one, but should I start from number one? I mean,
There's not enough of a story in between each one where you have to play 1 and 2 to understand 3 or 4 or
got it.
whatever.
Okay.
New Vegas is widely regarded as one of the best written.
Okay, I'll start there then.
Plus, it takes place in Las Vegas or in the surrounding areas, and so you can
Right.
recognize spots. It's pretty cool.
Cool. All right. All right. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
But yeah, I'm really, as you can tell, I'm really excited about this TV show.
Awesome. So wait, it's Netflix, right?
Amazon.
Oh, even better. All right, nice. Good for you, Amazon. They're getting good shows.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to The Boys. I don't know if you've watched any of that. I can't remember if
I
we've
have
talked
not.
about it. It's what if superheroes acted like this is the real world and not comic book world.
Oh,
They're all
kind of like
they're all
Watchmen.
Yeah, but worse. They're just
Oh.
they're all dicks.
Oh, all right.
But no, it's got The Boys has a really really good story. I like it a lot.
Is it coming out soon?
Well, the first, I think, 3-4 seasons are out already. You can watch them now. The new one comes out. The new season comes out about when this one comes. I think in April.
So it does well then if they're up to that.
Oh
many-
yeah, yeah.
that many seasons.
You know, also what I watched recently. We are getting into Topher's media corner, by the way.
Yeah, we are. We are. Yeah.
My Dinner with Andre.
Oh,
do you know this? It's
No.
it's from the 70s. My Dinner with Andre.
No.
It is literally, and I'm not like making a cutesy joke about it. I'm being 100% honest.
81. Yeah.
81. So it's about two guys having dinner and reconnecting after a long time of not seeing each other. But in the first half, I mean,
Oh, yeah. I just know that I only know it because I know there's a scene that I've seen before. Isn't he talking about like the New World Order or something?
yeah, essentially, yeah. But he's talking about he's talking a lot about society as a whole, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I went, holy shit, I totally get what he's talking about. But honestly, for the first half, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I was kind of looking to turn it off, but I'll stick with it. But anyway, I'm conflicted with my feelings about it because it brought up a lot of really interesting stuff that I was surprised and confused by. Yeah, here we go.
And then,
yeah,
I guess really, the last big experience of this kind took place that fall. It was out in Montauk on Long Island, and there were only about 9 of us involved, mostly men. And we borrowed Dick Avedon's property out at Montauk, and the country out there is like Heathcliff country. It's absolutely wild. What we wanted to do was we wanted to take All Souls Eve, Halloween, and use it as a point of departure for something. So each one of us prepared some sort of event for the others, somehow in the spirit of All Souls Eve. But the biggest event was 3 of the people kept disappearing in the middle of the night each night, and we knew they were preparing something big, but we didn't know what. And midnight on Halloween, under a dark moon above these cliffs, we were all told to gather at the topmost cliff and that we'd be taken somewhere. And we did. And we waited, and it was very, very cold. And then the 3 of them, Helen, Bill, and Fred, showed up wearing white, something they'd made out of sheets. Looked a little spooky, not funny. And they took us into the basement of this house that had burned down on the property. And in this ruined basement, they had set up a table with benches they'd made. And on this table, they had laid out paper, pencils, wine, and glasses. And we were all asked to sit at the table and to make out our last will and testament, to think about and write down whatever our last words were to the world or to somebody we were very close to. And that's quite a task. I must have been there for about an hour and a half or so, maybe 2. And then one at a time, they would ask one of us to come with them, and I was one of the last. and they came for me.
Who's they? Does it say who they is?
It doesn't. It's not important. He's talking about. So it's so hard to explain. This guy is he's a director of plays, and he went out and this is mostly what the movie's about, and this was kind of, I was like going, I was yawning, not really caring. He's talking about his different experiences. He'd take all these different people out into the wilderness and do different things. So he's just talking about, he's not talking about aliens or UFOs or anything cool like that.
Right. Yeah.
He's just talking about like other playwrights and actors and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard.
But there is a scene that he talks about, like
he talks about conspiracies.
They
like
talk about
UFOs,
media and yeah.
They talk about society as a whole and how we've learned to walk on eggshells around each other.
Right.
At least that's what I took from it. It's almost like listening to a podcast, honestly, because there's nothing important on that.
It's like a play.
Yeah.
What's this final scene one?
The trouble, Wally, with always being active and doing things is that I think it's quite possible to do all sorts of things and at the same time be completely dead inside. I mean, you're doing all these things, but are you doing them because you really feel an impulse to do them? Or are you doing them mechanically, as we were saying before? Because I really do believe that if you're just living mechanically, then you have to change your life. When you're young,
he says some great things. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of clips from this movie. Never watched the whole thing though. So it's just literally them having dinner.
Yeah, that's it. It's them having dinner. So Wallace Shawn, the guy on the left, you know him from Inconceivable.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. He's saying, okay, he's struggling with his job and life and stuff. And he's going, I've been avoiding, it's a voiceover. He's going, I've been avoiding this guy. I've been dodging his calls. But I finally decided to sit down and have dinner with him. And that's what the movie's about. And they have just some really interesting conversations. It's stuck with me, which I guess is why it's a good movie.
Absolutely. It still gets shared everywhere. Like I see it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the first half I was going like, I don't get this. Why is this a thing? Who cares about this? And then, halfway through, I was like, oh, crap. I kind of understand what they're talking about. Like, I get it.
Yeah, and it does. He does say a lot of things that resonated with me too. He talks about things that are relevant to today too. I can't remember what they are now, but it was perfect. Like, wow, people were thinking this in the 80s, and projecting it out.
So a movie I recommended to you, I don't know if you watched it yet, was Coherence. And
did I watch it yet? Let me check.
It's also about friends who are having dinner, but there's a lot of other stuff that's going on.
No, I have not watched Coherence. All right.
Okay.
So is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, I believe.
Right.
I might have bought it on Amazon, but anyway, it's one of my one of my favorite movies. But it's about it's about friends at a dinner party. There's a comet passing overhead, and things get a little bit weird.
I might have. Wait, is there like guests having dinner? Like, is it like a bunch of different guests?
There's about 7 or 8 of them, I think. That's
okay.
And there's.
I think I might have seen this 2014.
I don't want to spoil anything. That's why.
I know.
But it's really good, and then.
Oh yes, I did see it. I'm just seeing like some scenes now. I did.
Oh well, you have to actually watch the thing. It's great, and it's so the way they directed it was super cool too, because they didn't
I've watched this. I remember watching this.
Okay, they didn't give the actors any lines. They just gave them, okay, here is what you're trying to do during this scene, and play it out. And that's how they were directing it, and it feels really natural, and it's super cool, and it's super weird, and I love it.
I completely forgot about this movie. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really impressive.
I also watched Triangle, which is about a bunch of friends who, not having a dinner party, they get shipwrecked. What else do I want to say? They end up on a cruise ship, and things get really weird.
All right, is this in Bermuda Triangle or something?
It's called just Triangle. I'd say it's like a B movie. You're not going to recognize. Well, actually, you might recognize one actor, but some of it is a little bit corny. But I actually really enjoyed the ride. I had a lot of fun during it.
Oh,
But
nice.
I cannot speak highly enough about Coherence. That's one of my favorite movies. It's so
Yeah,
good.
agreed. Now that I remember which one it is, yeah, it is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
It's
full
so
of mystery. You don't know what's going to happen next, kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, actually, I Googled it because I want to, I keep, that's what I do. When I say movie I like, I go
Yeah,
and
you want
Google it,
to
and
dig
I want to
deep.
hear more about it. And I found a really interesting thread on Reddit, of all places, where someone had mapped out where all the characters had been and what they were
You're
doing.
kidding me. Oh
No,
my
and it
God,
was
that's hilarious.
it's just utter confusion.
Did they do it well at least?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was cool because you go, oh, okay, that I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you want to talk about Fallout for another hour, I could do that.
Well, I'm gonna play it.
Dude, you have to. It's
I'm going
so
to. Yeah, I'm going to.
its outlook on life is so depressing. I think that's why I like it the most, is because
Yeah.
it's just humans are doomed.
I know, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Because just look at the history,
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. Yeah, I actually, I'll tell you why humans are doomed, because we have people like this representing us. Representative Chuck Fleischman wants to wipe Palestinians off the earth. Now,
That's a healthy outlook.
I know, right?
Fucking jackass.
Tell the Palestinians, I will
I
never
am a
support
Palestinian
them.
myself.
Why do you support the genocide and all of the war crimes and collective punishment? Are you concerned
Let
about
me
all the
make it.
children?
Let me make
died
it
in
clear.
Gaza?
Let me make it clear. Israel is our ally. Will always
Israel's
be our
not
ally.
an
Even if they commit war
And they are
crimes,
not
even
guilty
with
of genocide.
Yes,
And
they
I
are.
will support Israel forever.
you will
Israel will stay your ally, even though they commit
Israel will be
genocide.
my.
Even with
That's
that.
your term.
Even
Can
when
you
they kill
That is
explain?
your
even
term.
when they kill 30,000
What
kids.
they
That is a
did to the
statistic.
Israeli
That's a
people
statistic.
on October. Let me tell you a statistic.
Yeah, please.
Israel will exist. The Jewish state will exist.
That's not a
It will always
statistic.
That's
exist.
not
What a psychopath! Exactly, that's not a statistic.
But here's the thing: people voted for him, and people will like this.
Oh yeah, apparently APAC upped his donation to a lot
Yeah.
more.
Shocker.
So it's if it remains profitable to be like this, people to be obsessed with a foreign country that has nothing to do with us.
Well, and it
it's
will
not our
remain.
ally.
It will remain profitable
Yeah.
because Israel has money.
Yeah, but because we keep
Because we give it back to them.
Yeah.
It just goes back. and forth,
Exactly.
back
Do you
and
know
forth.
when we give them that money, because we give it to them at the beginning of the year or something, they put some of that into like a savings account at the Fed and make interest on it until they use it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
And that is for God
absolutely
Oh,
nothing
God.
to do with what we're saying.
And I will
You are
always support
supporter of
Israel.
genocide, sir. You're
I will
supporting
always
the
support
murder of
Israel,
little children.
and you can tell the Palestinians, I will
I
never
am a
support them.
Palestinian myself.
And I will tell
then
you,
say
I
it to
will
my
never
face.
support you.
Yeah?
I will tell you to your face.
And you want my cousins
Goodbye
to
to
die.
Palestine. Goodbye to support.
Goodbye, Palestine. That is a representative.
Yeah.
That's genocidal language right there. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah, he's so upset.
Unhinged. He's crazy. Pointing and screaming, and like he reminds me of John McCain too. Like when he did that with his hands. Look at him.
That's Israel forever.
Thank you for
God bless Israel forever.
Forever.
Okay.
God bless Israel forever.
Thank you for
Everyone wipe Palestine off the earth. Yeah.
I can't help but laugh, man. But right here, this is the problem of our country. Right.
Yep.
Here. I'm gonna
Yep.
screenshot that.
And then you've got hundreds of other representatives that they're not shouting and yelling, but they have this exact same attitude.
Yeah, exactly. Israel forever. God bless Israel. Screw the United States. Screw the American people.
Screw
God
the
bless
Palestinians.
Israel.
Anyway.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God, that's a
God
great one.
bless
I'll take a picture right there.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't send me any humor, so I thought this might be funny. It's not.
It's half funny and half infuriating.
Well, this one, I wish we had a device that instead of getting mosquitoes, we'll get some of those politicians.
Mhm.
An AI-based mosquito defense system.
Oh God.
Look at this thing.
Oh my God. Like a serial killer.
Look at us. There's a radar.
What?
I don't know if it's true, but man,
Have
that'd be
you
so much fun.
have you seen that what's it called? The salt gun where you shoot you're supposed
I want to get one of those so bad.
Oh, geez, sorry.
But I mean, if I lived in like the Philippines or something, I'll definitely want to get that thing.
Oh
That gun,
yeah, for sure.
you know. Damn, cuz it's 2 hours 20 minutes.
Yeah, this has been a big one.
Well, you know, it was really upsetting that we got that news on a Friday about what AARO and
Yeah.
that
Well,
stupid investigation of theirs.
yeah, completely.
But, okay, let's see. Should we put Roswell? Oh, there is Roswell. How many times? Not that many times.
Oh, okay.
But we should. I'm gonna go through this report. I didn't have that much time to look at it. Nimitz, even there's Nimitz in there. 0 times.
Well, thank God they investigated themselves and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, so I don't know what to call this episode. It's worse than "Don't Believe Your Lying Eyes." It's like it's propaganda. It's like I don't know who's that guy. That he's a Nazi. He said like if you tell a big lie, people will believe it. Something like that.
Wait, okay. An idea. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Idea
Yeah.
for the title. Just put "Government is great" in all caps with an exclamation point.
Okay, I love it. Yes, I like that one. Let's do that one. Government is great. Yes. That is perfect. Oh man.
Fucking
well,
assholes.
we knew they were going to do this, right?
Yeah,
we just like to be hopeful. We'd like to be hopeful and positive because it's very important to stay that way. Despite all this around us, doesn't mean we can't change it. We can still try and at least say that you tried.
Yeah, I guess that's all we can hope for. But seriously, people, if you're listening, keep your heads up, keep moving forward, do the best that you can, be good to your fellow man.
Yes.
It does nothing for anybody if you're down and negative and just a general asshole.
Right. There's always hope. There's always hope for change. You'll always find someone or someone else with with your same mindset. And all in all, humanity is they're great. They are. Humans are empathetic.
We're good. We've only existed this long because of how good we are to each other.
Yeah, right, exactly. And even even if some NHI is enslaving us, it's doing it for a reason because there's some brilliance that humanity has.
Mhm.
And you can see it in the ruling class how they do the same thing too. I think they try to simulate. They like, fine, if we're enslaved as a species, then why don't we just enslave our country, kind of thing. That's how they think they can get away with it and justify it and treat us like children. We know what's good.
I don't know if that's great logic, but
it's not.
It's kind of like if you grow up in an abusive household, you then become an abuser yourself. So I get it from that standpoint.
Right.
Still though, they can all go fuck themselves.
Oh, of course. I mean, the ideal way is for these technologies to be out, for humans to be free, to thrive, to be productive, to just not be stuck on this planet, maybe go out. I mean, trillions and trillions of galaxies, not trillions and trillions of stars. So this whole thing of overpopulation, too many humans, I don't know. I don't believe it.
Well, this is why you have to read Dead Moon, where they solve the overpopulation problem
by putting them in the moon,
by burying dead people on the moon. It's a good book, though. I'm enjoying it. It took a while to get going.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I talked about a few weeks ago. I was talking about 14 and The Fold. It's a book in that series. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, or the guy who wrote it, unfortunately. Fun books, though. But anyway, if you want to read more and you want to read about the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, Adam, why don't you tell the listeners where you can find us?
You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter. Our handle is UAP the podcast. And then me, I am under Breakaway Civil. And then Topher is under Topher It All. So all three accounts, follow all three of us. Hit us up, tag us. We'll respond as you've seen before. If you have any suggestions for what we should cover, we'll take a look at that also, and we'll cover it. We are on YouTube at Uncovering Anomalies podcast. On Rumble, hit us up there too. We're at UAP podcast, and then all of the major podcasting platforms. You can find us at Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Thank you for all of our listeners. Thank you for all the growth.
Absolutely.
Yes, that we've experienced in the past few months. Keep us going. Support us. There's a support link at the bottom of each episode. Whatever you like.
We like interacting with you. The 3.5 times it's happened. No, I'm just kidding. No, we do like interacting with people, and we'd love to keep having guests on and have them join what we're talking about.
Right. So if you want to be a guest, yeah,
if you've been abducted by aliens, if you've experienced government harassment, you all have. Let us know and come be a guest. Come join us. Tell your story.
Yeah, we're happy to have anyone on. Well, mostly anyone. We'll do very minimal background check. So hey, spooks, don't think you can just get on here.
But you know what? If you are a CIA whistleblower and you're, we'd love to hear from you, as long as we verify that you're not still currently working for the CIA.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you can announce it here under the radar.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tell us what's going on. We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. And this has been episode 62. We're going to call it Government is Great.
That is Adam. I am Topher. We are so happy you're listening if you've made it this far. This is a long episode.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.